Have you ever found yourself looking at someone else's work and thinking, they already do what I want to do and they do it better than I could? Maybe they have more training, more experience, a bigger audience, a clearer message. Maybe they've been doing it for years. And suddenly you start questioning whether there's really room for what you bring. But what if the question isn't whether you have something that no one else has? What if it's about what happens when everything you've gathered through your life comes together through you? Think about everything that has contributed to what you bring. Maybe you have a degree or professional training. Maybe you've taken courses or certifications. Maybe you've developed skills through your work. Maybe you've learned things because life required you to. Maybe you've spent years exploring something creatively. Maybe you've had experiences that changed you. Maybe there are things people have come to you for. And then there are those things that are simply part of how you naturally are. The way you listen, the way you notice things, the way you explain, the way you connect ideas, the way you make people feel comfortable, the way you create, the way you see possibilities, the way you help someone move from where they are to where they want to be. We tend to put all of those things into separate boxes. That's my training. That's my work. That's just something I enjoy. That's something I went through. That's just how I am. And because we're looking at each piece separately, we may not notice how they've been coming together through our lives. Maybe you've always been the person people come to when they're overwhelmed. Maybe you naturally make complicated things easier to understand. Maybe you see connections other people don't see. Maybe you create things whenever you're trying to solve a problem. Maybe you've repeatedly found yourself teaching, guiding, encouraging, organizing, making, healing, connecting, or helping. And because you've been doing some of these things for so long, they can feel completely ordinary to you. But something being natural to you doesn't mean it has no value. Sometimes the clue isn't one extraordinary talent. It's what keeps showing up in different situations, at different points in your life, through different work, through different interests, through different relationships. There may be a thread running through it all that you haven't recognized because you've been living it. And then comparison can make that even harder to see. Instead of asking, what is it that I naturally bring? We start asking, who else is doing this? And there will always be someone with more credentials, someone who's been doing it longer, someone with a bigger audience, someone who seems more confident, someone whose business looks more polished. And we can look at what they've built and think, well, I don't have what they have. But we're comparing our individual pieces to someone else's finished expression. And we're comparing what we know about ourselves on the inside with what we're seeing from someone else on the outside. We know all of our uncertainty, all the things we haven't figured out yet, all the things we still want to learn, all the places we don't feel confident yet. We don't experience someone else that way. We see what they have already experienced and expressed. And this is something I really want you to consider. Your unique gift doesn't have to be something nobody else has ever done. You don't have to invent a completely new modality. You don't have to be the most qualified person in the room. You don't have to find something that has never existed before. You can have similar training to someone else. You can use a modality that many other people use. You can teach something that others teach. you can create in a field that already exists and still bring something that is uniquely yours. Because you're not bringing only the modality, you're bringing your experience with it, your perspective, your other knowledge, your creativity, your way of communicating, your way of connecting, your lived experience, your values, your way of seeing the person in front of you, your particular combination of all of those things. And no one else brings that exact combination in exactly the same way. Sometimes we actually see some of this and dismiss it. We say, that's just something I do. Anybody could do that. I learned that from someone else. That's not really a skill. That's just part of my personality. Or maybe that used to be unusual, but now everybody knows about it. And this can be especially interesting when something meaningful to us has become more mainstream. Something that once felt personal, unusual, or even a little too woo-woo may now be something you see everywhere. But something becoming more familiar doesn't make your experience of it meaningless. It doesn't erase what it has taught or given you. And it doesn't erase the way you may bring it together with everything else you know. So perhaps the question isn't, is this still unique? Perhaps it's, what do I bring to this? And this is where that familiar feeling of needing one more thing can return. Maybe you tell yourself, I need another certification. I need to learn how to market. I need to become more confident. I need to figure out exactly what makes me different. I need to know more before I can really step forward. I'm not suggesting you stop learning. There's a beautiful difference between continuing to learn because you're genuinely inspired to grow and continually adding more because you haven't yet learned to recognize and trust the value of what you already carry. Sometimes the next thing you need isn't another piece. It's seeing how the pieces you already have come together. So instead of asking yourself, what do I have that nobody else has? Try asking, what is the thread running through what I've learned, lived, created, and naturally bring? What do people consistently come to you for? What do you naturally notice? What do you make easier for other people? What do you keep learning about, creating around, or returning to? What experiences have shaped the way you see? What seemingly unrelated parts of your life actually have something in common? And perhaps most importantly, what do you keep dismissing because it comes so naturally to you? You don't have to have the perfect answer. You're simply beginning to see the pieces differently. Because owning your unique gifts isn't about convincing yourself that you're special. It's about becoming honest about what is actually there and allowing yourself to stop shrinking something simply because it feels familiar, or because someone else does something similar, or because you haven't yet figured out exactly how to express it. You don't have to be the only person who can do something for it to be yours to bring. Your gift may be less about one particular thing and more about the way everything you've gathered through your life comes together through you. And once you begin to see that, you can begin to trust it. And eventually, you can begin to give it expression in the world. And that's where we'll go next. Because once you begin noticing what you bring and how the pieces have come together, another question naturally comes up. Where did all of this come from? The experiences you've lived through, the things you have learned, the challenges you've navigated, the things that changed you, the things that taught you something you wish you'd known sooner. Those experiences may be part of the story of what you now have to offer. That's what we'll explore in the next video. Until then, take some time to notice the thread running through your own life. You might be more familiar with your gifts than you realize. And if this conversation resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and continue with the Own and Share Your Unique Gifts playlist on the channel. There are more conversations ahead about recognizing, trusting, expressing, and eventually sharing what you bring. I'll see you in the next one.